Part 3. So, come on, dude. Alright, so, yeah, so this old guy is sitting outside the sex shop, and he's like, yeah, come over here, like, what are you doing today? I'm like, nothing. He's like, yeah, do you smoke? I'm like, yeah, I do meth and crack, and he's like, yeah, I just got my paycheck, I'm waiting to get some crack. Do you want to come back and smoke with me? I'm like, yeah. So, um, oh yeah, so like, I forgot. There was another time before this, like with crack. Okay, so with crack, I could only smoke with my ex. Like after we broke up, there was like a soul tie between us, so where I couldn't smoke after that. I tried to smoke it with other people, and I just got paranoid, and I had a bad time. One time, I did almost die because I took a hit, and like immediately, like they said, it was like the roof. Like I just heard like it was like rain on a tin roof, and like everything locked up, and I couldn't move. And my friend put his hand on my head, and I felt like my head was about to roll off, and he put his hand on my head, and I came back, and he was like, why don't you go hang out with the girls, go to the girls side, you don't need to be over here with the bad boys. So I stopped smoking crack after that. But yeah, I thought it was just something I could just do with everyone after me and my ex broke up, but it wasn't. It was just a thing for me and him. And yeah. Um so yeah, so this is the first time in 9 months, because that happened right before I went to rehab in February of 2020, where that happened. And this was, yeah, so this was after I went to my friend's apartment the last time I told y'all. And yeah, so I met this old guy, and I go straight to his house, and he lives like on the east side of Nashville. I live down by the zoo on the south side. He lives on the east side, so yeah, we go and pick up some stems, and we get in there, and he's like, I took a hit, and like immediately I know I'm not gonna have a good time. Like it's not the same as it used to be with my ex. And he's old, and we play cards and we play dice, and like in my head it was telling me dies, like you could die. Yeah, so I would take a hit and everything would lock up, and then like, yeah, so we ended up having sex, and it brought me out of it. I did it again. He put on this gangster movie, and I took another hit, and like this time, like my body changed after this. Like everything got really, really heavy, and I couldn't move until the hit wore off. Like I couldn't move, and my right leg, like all this weight came down on my right leg, and like I couldn't move for the weight to be lifted off, and it finally was. And like after that, we had sex, and it kind of brought me out of it. And he was like, yo, I'm gonna have my girlfriend come over, like maybe you'll feel better if another girl comes over. Like I think it was just he came into my life to show me, like, for sure, because I was still confused about the crack, like why it wasn't working, why is this happening. And it really was just like a soul tie thing. Like I'm not supposed to do it again after that. That was it. Yeah, he had this girl come over, and like they smoked in front of me, and they were having a good time. And she played this song. I tell you once, I'm gonna tell you twice. See, I know how to shoot, and I know how to fight. After I heard that song, like I realized, like I can't smoke anymore. Like that was like a warning to me, and she made me feel better. Like she came over there, and she was like, pretty much like, you'll feel better if you just get over it. So yeah, so uh she stayed for a few hours. I went to sleep. Next morning, he made me breakfast and sent me on my way home. I came home, and my grandma was like, you need to go. This is the last time. So yeah, so I packed up my shit, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna stay on the street for a while and try to support myself, and I'm not gonna do drugs. So for 2 weeks, I was out. I was doing hookups. I was just paying for my hotels, and some guy bought me a hotel for free, and he just like helped me out. And I was just eating food, just like walking around, listening to videos. I started meeting some new people online. I met this guy who was really into Jesus and God. He started talking to me about God. Like he came into my life to show me about God, and like this was a critical time for me to get sober and like straighten up. And one of those days, it was my uncle's birthday, and my grandma called me. She was like, do you want to come over for your uncle's birthday? I was like, yeah. And she was like, all right. Like, you can stay the night, and then if you want to leave, you can leave. So I stayed the night, and my friend came over from high school that I hadn't seen in a long time, and we had a good time, and my uncle had a good time, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back out there. So I went back out there the next day. My mom's mom, she took me to a doctor's appointment that day. So I went to a doctor's appointment. I can't remember what it was for. And then I left, and like I ended up meeting this guy. I got in the car with this guy that day after the doctor's appointment, and he picked up his girlfriend. He was a crackhead. They were crackheads. They were, again, like, this is the last time I did it after this. This is the last time I did crack. So we were riding around, and like I heard some new music that really, like, I really like Everybody by Christina Milian. It's the first time I heard that song, and like it almost made me cry. And she was crying. They were having an argument. Like, she was crying, and I can't remember what happened, but we went somewhere out of town, and I took a couple of hits, and the same thing happened that happened the last time. Like, I locked up and I couldn't move, and like that was like a sign to me, like, this is just like a thing for couples to do. Like, it's just a thing for to do when you're in love. Like, you don't smoke crack with people, like just anybody. Like, you have to do it with someone special. So yeah, so they ended up getting in an argument, and she was like, I want to beat that bitch's ass. Like, you're clearly gonna cheat on me with this girl. Like, she was like, take me somewhere, take me somewhere. So he dropped her off, and I just chilled with him the rest of the night. I didn't smoke. He just sat there smoking. I was kind of mad that I couldn't smoke. So yeah, we ended up hooking up, and then I went on my way. And for the next like week or so, I was just out there wandering around, and I went and bought some new clothes. I went and bought a bunch of new clothes. I was carrying around all these clothes, and I bought some new shoes. It was the same sneakers I bought that looked just like this other crackhead sneakers that day with the roof, where like it was like I almost died, and he held my head, and he was like, go to the girl's side. Like, I remember seeing these purple shoes that morning, these purple shoes that he had, and like that stuck in my head. And then I bought some shoes that looked just like that. So I bought these new shoes the same day I bought the new outfit. I got dressed up, and I went in. I fell asleep at the park. There was this park, on Knowlesville Road down near Thompson Lane, right by White Castle. There's this park behind White Castle, and there's like a chart up there for hand signs for deaf people. And to me, like, God told, like, something my wisdom told me, these are actually gang signs. Like, each letter like has deeper meanings, and they were hand signs, gang signs. So I started studying that. I ended up falling asleep, and I'm walking up Nolensville Road, and this guy, this really cute guy, this mixed guy with curly hair, comes in, picks me up, and he's like, yeah, I got you. Like, you want to hang out with me? Like, he lived in his van. He had a gym membership at Planet Fitness. And we hook up, and he pulls out a meth pipe. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, time to get high again. Like, I thought I wasn't going to get high while I was out here, but we ended up smoking, and then, I felt really good, and he took me to Planet Fitness, and, I took a shower and then, like, we went and hung out at a truck stop all night in his truck, and he went to sleep. After he went to sleep, I was kind of mad that he went to sleep, and I was like not having a good time. Like, for like 7 hours, I just sat there like tripping. Like, I was wide awake, and then he finally woke up, and he was like having car problems, and he was like, so we went somewhere, some Walmart kind of far away, like a different Walmart. I can't remember. It was I don't know. It was kind of far away. It was a different Walmart, and he was like, I got car problems, and like I just kind of got the feeling that I started crying because it reminded me of my ex, and like I kind of liked him, and like I don't know, I kind of got the feeling he wanted me to leave. And so yeah, I didn't have no meth. It was his meth. So like I was like, I'm just gonna go and try to get high again now because I was back on it. Like, he was working on his car. I just leave, and I'm walk around for a couple of hours crying, talking to myself, and I don't know. I think I stayed up all night. There was like a carnival. This was out in Madison. I ended up walking for like 2 hours, and I find myself in Madison, and I'm just walking around in the cold all night, and like a couple people pick me up, and eventually the next day I got a ride. I got some money. I got a bunch of food, and like I am getting a ride back to Antioch, Woodbine, my area. And so I called that guy back up, and I started hanging out with him. The guy from, I think, well, I don't know what happened. No, like what happened was somehow I got some money, and I called one of my old friends and her new boyfriend, and I hadn't seen her in a couple years, and like I go stay at the hotel with them for the night. She hit her. She was dating a meth dealer, and I got some more meth, and I had all this meth on me, and the like once they were done with me the next day, I stayed one night in a hotel with them, and they were like they had a bunch of shit to do, so I had them drop me back off at Hardin Place, and I called my grandma because at nighttime, oh yeah, like it started to get late, and like I'm sitting there and I think I'm about to die. Like the bad trip comes on again because I'm still high. I had all this meth on me, and like I'm playing Bone Thugs and Harmony, and like and we pray every day. I don't know, like I was like trying to be positive, but something was telling me like I couldn't sit down. Once again, like I couldn't sit down without feeling stuck. Like I'm trying to walk around and like it's like I'm walking on thin ice again. Like so so I call her and she lets me come home, and I snuck meth into her house, and I just did that for, I mean, I just like cleaned up my room really good, and I just like I kind of like hid it from her, and I was high for like 4 days, and like I was drawing and doing all this stuff, and like she just thought I was drinking coffee and shit, but I don't know, I think she was kind of suspicious. Uh and then Halloween night, I called back the guy from Planet Fitness and had him come get me. I snuck out Halloween night and we got high, and like she was like, "Don't come back. Like you left again." Um I didn't tell her I was doing the meth or anything, but I think I don't know. She ended up finding out a week later. But anyways, yeah. So I went with him and I got in the car, and then as soon as I got in, like he like literally like after we got high, he like transformed into a vampire. He looked angry and mad, and we went to a truck stop once again, and I left again crying. Like we got in an argument. I'm like, "You're not making me feel good." I don't know. I don't remember what happened, but it was like he wanted me to stop doing the meth, but he was doing it with me. But like, yeah. So um so I run out and I leave, and I'm walking around that whole night crying. I eventually walk back from all the way from downtown at the truck stop. I walk all the way back home, like a 4 hour walk. And sometime in the next week, I come back home. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be sober. Like she let me stay there, and like literally, I was just eating and sleeping again, and I couldn't handle it. And uh I snuck out and saw him again one more time, and like I didn't end up hanging out with him because I didn't want it to go bad again. I didn't do meth with him because I didn't want to get in an argument. So he ended up leaving state, and I never saw him again after that. And then I called my friend again one day when my grandma was at school, and I got, oh yeah, I snuck out while she was at school one day, and I got $30 from some dude that did the trick, and I called my friend with her boyfriend was the meth dealer, and I got $30 worth, and I got a pipe, and I sat there and got high for like 4 days, and by the fourth day, I'd been up for 4 days, and this was in November, like late November. Uh, One night, like I watched a movie, and like a voice was telling me not to keep smoking, but I kept smoking, and like right after the movie, my grandma was like, "Okay, we're going out to get sandwiches." And we go out and to get sandwiches, and I literally thought that they were gonna have a hit on me. Like I was so I was so tense. She could tell something was wrong. She was like, when we got home with the sandwiches, like after that, because I thought they were gonna kill me, like literally. I put my sandwich in the fridge. I'm like, I'm gonna go to my room, but like as soon as I started to try to walk to my room, I couldn't. I froze up. I couldn't walk, and I'm like, I'm scared. Like I told her, I was like, "Yo, I have this meth pipe in my room. Like I'm really past. I feel like you're gonna kill me." And she's like, "It's demons. Like it's not me. It's the meth. You need to stop. Like thank you for telling me." So I gave her and her boyfriend my pipe and my shit, and like she just pretty much read the Bible to me, and she had to hold my hand for a few, like literally my hand, like she held my right hand, my left hand, and my right hand was on fire. Like my right hand kept going on fire, like, and I started going blind. Like the sides of my face started going blind. So I made her and her boyfriend hold my hands for a few hours, and finally they talked me down, and it was better. And they were like, you just can't do meth again. And so yeah, so the next day, like my dad came over, we went to church. She took me to Sally's. I got a bunch of makeup. Like I got like I was gonna try to take care of myself and do better, and somehow a week later, once again, I snuck out while she was at school, got some meth, and right after I got home, because like okay, so she got home before I did. Like I went to get the meth right before she got home, and I went and got it real quick and got home 5 minutes after she did, and she drug tested me. As soon as she got home, I passed clean, and then I went and smoked right after she drug tested me. And I was up for 2 days, and we went to church, and on Sunday, like, cause I had the shit Friday, I was high Saturday, Sunday, and Sunday we went to church, and then like I was still smoking, hiding it, and I was messaging my friend. My friend was like, I told her something was wrong, and I was like, I think I'm dying, and she's like, do you want to give up your life for this shit? And my grandma, my messages were coming up on her because my account was logged in on her phone in her room, and she seen the message, and she came in and she was like, I know you're doing meth. Like, what do we need to do? Like, you've got to stop. So yeah, so like I'm sitting there like hiding the meth, and I'm arguing with her. I'm like, no, like I didn't do anything wrong. And like literally as I'm like trying to hold on to it, like the room just starts closing in on me, and she's standing there like this. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. She's like, you don't want to do what? And like literally like my head started to get so heavy. And I thought I was like, she was like, see, you could set up an account on Etsy. And I'm like, what the fuck? And my head started getting so heavy. It's Ipsy, but I thought she said Headsy. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, here. So I gave her my meth, and she was started crying. She was like, oh my God, thank God. Thank you for giving it to me. Like, now you can go to heaven. Like, now you'll be saved. Like, um, we don't have to do this again. And she went and like, I went and sat outside, and she went and I seen her coming from the garage, like walking towards me with a hammer. I'm like, are you coming out with me with a hammer? She was like, no, silly, I just smashed your pipe. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, so I watched some YouTube videos about like psychology and stuff, make me feel better. And like I came down, and I was pissed off as I'm coming down because I still had some that I wanted to smoke. And like after that happened, I was mad, and like I'm laying there, and I'm just like, I don't feel good. And I'm listening to her podcast, and for some reason I get really mad because I think it's about me. Like, it's like political stuff that like I thought it was about me, and I was like, I just got mad and I left. I was like, I don't want to live here no more. So I walked down the road, and she came and got me, and she was like, you need help. Like, we'll help you out. Like, I'm just trying to help you. And like for some reason I got really mad, and I called my mom's mom. I'm like, can you take me to my mom's mom? So she took me over there. And I just pretty much ate up all her food for a day. I just ate and slept. And like the next day, she went to go take me to get a COVID test. And as we're in the line for the COVID test, I just start flipping out because something like um I started having these bad smells in my face. And then like I was like, I thought that she was doing it to me on purpose. Like literally, I'm like, I smell something I don't like, and I thought she was just trying to get me to leave. So I started screaming at her. I'm like, why the fuck would you do this to me? Like, that's so mean. Like, why am I smelling this? She's like, it's all in your head. I'm like, no. So I yell at her, and then she calls my mom. My mom's like, you better not ever yell at my mama like that again, or I'll knock you the fuck out. I'm like, oh my God, like, fuck you guys. Like, I'm screaming. I hop out of the car, I run down the street. She comes and picks me up. She takes me back to her house. I'm like, just give me my stuff, I'll go. She gives me my stuff. So I start walking down the street, and she comes and picks me up again, and she takes me back to her house, and she's like, I'm going to call the police. You need to go to mental ward. So they called the police. She called the police, and I told them what happened about the smells, and that it wasn't in my head, and she was just trying to get rid of me. And so they take me to the crisis stabilization unit in Nashville, and I felt much better when I got there. Eventually all the shit died down. They listened to me. They didn't give me no meds, but they just let me sleep, and they gave me a bed there, and I was gonna be there for a week and like start planning a rehab to go to. So yeah, my family, I talked to my whole family the whole time I was there for a week, and just pretty much ate and slept. And I was gonna go to a rehab here, but like we were having problems with the insurance, so like my mom's mom picked me up from there, and she called the center, and they hooked me up with someone in Florida. So yeah, so I had a ticket to Florida for the next day, and I went back to my dad's mom's, and she bought me a bunch of stuff to go to Florida, like a suitcase and new clothes and everything I needed, like that stuff. And she was so nice. And yeah, so I went to Florida, and I went to rehab December, and mid January, I got a flight back to my mom's in Pennsylvania. I was gonna try to move in with my mom's. This was a few weeks ago. Um, when I got out of rehab, I went to my mom's, and within the first week, I relapsed. I hooked up with my old dealer, and we had a good time. But then he left. He got pulled over after he was gonna go to the gas station. He got pulled over, and like I was left there at this hotel, like 30 minutes away from my house, crying, like freaking out. It was like again, my foundation became unstable. Like it was good at first, but then like, so my mom came and got me, and I made her stop work that day. She took me to the hospital because I was having a panic attack the whole time. Like I couldn't sit down, I couldn't breathe. Like, so she gave me a shot and like calmed me down, and she put me on a flight back to Nashville after the next 2 days. And she was crying. She was like, I just want you to live. And yeah, so they sent me back to Nashville, and here I am at my dad's mom's. I've been here about a month, or maybe, yeah, about a month. And I've had three more relapses since I've been here. And I went to the hospital again a week ago. A week ago from yesterday, I went to the hospital, and once again, I thought I was gonna die. Just voices in my head, not in my head, like people were saying, like people were dying. Like, for example, like it was her boyfriend's birthday the last time I did, and last week, and we went out, and it was all good and everything, but like one of my grandma's friends had died, and like I don't know, I feel like it was a sign to me like that I was gonna die if I keep doing this. So that was a week ago. I went to the hospital. They gave me a shot once again, and I came home and drank a bunch of coffee after that, which was dumb. And then my aunt had to come over and take my blood pressure, and she gave me some Benadryl. I didn't take it, but like I just like laid down, and just like, this is it. Like, this is the end. If you do it again, you're gonna die for real. So I'm done with meth, you guys. Like, for real. Like, I don't even want to do it no more. I've said that before, but I don't know. I don't know how I could keep doing this, but like really, these were close encounters with death. One of the times, like the second time, this last time, I was at Tent City, walking around, and as soon as I got high, like I started like fucking with my hair and shit, and I wouldn't stop, and my friend got mad, and he would like. That's when all the bad shit started happening, like, because it was annoying, because I wasn't listening. I was just doing my hair and stuff. So he had a job cleaning up bars. So like I went to the bar with him to clean up, and like I called my grandma. I'm like, yeah, I called my mom's mom. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing drugs. I just want to do what I want to do. I want to have fun. And she's like, well, you can't do that. I mean, you can, but you're going to suffer the consequences. Like, you're going to die. And as we're walking down the road, he held my hand, and I made him hold my hand, because I'm like, yo, I can't see again. Once again, like the sides of my vision started to go out, and like I'm feeling like I'm disappearing. I'm like, hold my hand and keep me here. And like, he was like, I'll call my friend. I'll give you a ride home. They gave me a ride home. I got home, and everything went good again, and everything was fine. Um, and then this last time, I think what really helped me like stop this last time, before I went to the hospital, like the night before I went to the hospital, I was still high, but I gave all my shit to my dad, and I'm like, Dad, can you help me? Like, I was like, can you make it stop, make the demons go away? And he did. He made them go away. But he was like, if they told you not to come back to this realm, don't come back. Like, seriously, because Uh, yeah, and I feel like that was God helping me, and it was my dad, and it really helped me like not want to do it no more. Yeah, but that night, like, I stayed up all night and my grandma got mad and she was like, "You're talking to demons," like, because I was like still trying to hold on to the high after I gave them all my stuff and she made me leave. Something embarrassing happened. She caught me doing something. She made me leave the house and my friend picked me up and like I'm just walking around and this is last Sunday and like I call her the next morning. I'm like, "Can I please come home?" She's like, "Yeah, you can come home, but this is it." And then I went to the hospital that morning because I was still paranoid and yeah. And then that's when my aunt came over and yeah. So I went to sleep. I woke up. I felt 100 times better and I've just been sober for a week. And I had my dad take me to apply for jobs on Wednesday. Got a job at Little Caesars. I've worked there for 3 days so far. I'm off today. I'll go to work tomorrow. So now that I'm back at work, it's like I feel much better. Like this is the first time I've worked in 2 years or 2.5 years. I need a job, but yeah, I got my job. So just wish me luck, you guys. Thank you.